Schiff used Debunked Dirty Dossier to leak fake news to media by Amy Moreno for TruthFeedNews.com. Adam Schiff should be placed under investigation for his unhinged, unbalanced handling of the Trump-Russia probe. Schiff almost single-handedly turned the phony probe into even more of a three-ring circus than it already was, with his crazy Russian conspiracy theories, blatant lies, and leaks to the lying liberal media. The congressman denies leaking to the fake news media, but the evidence is stacked against him. Do you think Adam Schiff should be investigated? I say arrest him, not only investigate him. We know he's a leaker. He should have been arrested a long time ago when he walked out of the courtroom where they grabbed who the leaker was with that WikiLeaks comment with Trump Jr. And they switched the dates around and he leaked it to the press, you know? They should have arrested him then, so I don't know what's going on. He should have been arrested a long time ago. From Washington Times, Democrats have marked the first year of the House's investigation into Russian election meddling by promoting conspiracy tales in the Christopher Steele dossier and leaking to the press more than 24 stories, some of which Republicans contend were way off base. Led by Representative Adam B. Schiff of California, Democrats on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence publicly kicked off the investigation on March 20th, 2017 by reading a number of unverified Steele charges into the record. No line of inquiry was off limits, including Mr. Steele's story about President Trump and prostitutes in a Moscow hotel room in 2013. Mr. Steele wrote of an extensive conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Kremlin. Mr. Trump has called the former British spy's dossier a collection of fiction. In an April court filing, Mr. Steele backed off his strongest claim and talked only of possible coordination. Since March 20th, as testimony about suspected collusion went into the recesses of the U.S. Capitol's sensitive compartmented information facility, Schiff, Democrats began a pattern of leaking to favored media, sometimes as a witness was still testifying. After a recent leak, Representative Lee M. Zeldin, New York Republican, tweeted, "Holy cow, the leaks coming from Dems on House Intel Committee are out of control. Witnesses come in for hours of testimony at a time, and then Dems instantly leak their version of one question, and that's that. Do rules, confidentiality, and process matter at all anymore?" Not with the Dems. I told you they played dirty. Mr. Trump and White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders have bluntly accused Mr. Schiff of spoon-feeding the press confidential anti-Trump material. Mr. Trump told the Wall Street Journal in January that when Mr. Schiff leaves a committee interview, a news report on the testimony quickly follows. Mr. Schiff denies he is leaking. Of course, he's going to deny it. They should just arrest him. They owe me an apology. Isn't this crazy? They owe me an apology. But frankly, it would be a wasted errand to ask for one, Mr. Schiff said on CNN. And if Sarah Huckabee Sanders is going to have to give out apologies to everyone that she has criticized unfairly, she would be doing nothing else all day. Listen to this. After Mr. Trump called him a total phony and leaking monster, Mr. Schiff tweeted back, "Wait a minute, Mr. President. Am I a phony or sleazy, a monster or little? Surely you know the key to a good playground nickname is consistency. I thought you were supposed to be good at this." Wow, you see this nasty, arrogant little tweet or whatever you want to call him? A review of committee press coverage shows that more than 24 leaks appeared to be Democrat generated. At least 5 were inaccurate, 2 decidedly wrong. Okay, Republicans appear to have leaked a smattering of testimony stories favorable to Mr. Trump. Democrats have accused Republicans of leaking private text messages between Senator Mark R. Warner, Virginia Democrat, and Adam Waldman, a Washington lawyer, attempting to negotiate a meeting with Mr. Steele. 5 Democrat leaks that Republicans say missed the mark. CNN reported that the emails from presidential son Donald Trump Jr., who was testifying that day, show he received a tip-off from WikiLeaks days before the anti-secrecy group dispensed more stolen Democratic Party emails. The story stayed active a full day before CNN corrected it to say the tip-off came after the public release. You see, they didn't even correct the story with the date for a full day. Mr. Trump Jr.'s attorney strongly implied that Democrats purposely injected an inaccurate leak into the Trump-Russia debate. Of course, that's what they did. CNN and other news sites reported erroneous Democratic versions of data on Russia and bought Facebook advertisements. Democrats leaked in October to CNN that the ads targeted Michigan, Wisconsin, and other swing states. The message was clear. Russians made the difference in handing Mr. Trump 2 pivotal states to win 270 electoral votes. What a crock, right? What a crock. Who would vote for Hillary except somebody that was demented? But the Washington Examiner looked at numbers and messages and concluded that the ads designed to stir unrest were written awkwardly. Senator Richard Burr, North Carolina Republican and chairman of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, issued numbers that showed Deep Blue Maryland received more Facebook ads than Wisconsin, with 262 and 55 respectively. No Wisconsin ad mentioned Mr. Trump. Again, they're debunked. The Daily Beast reported that Representative Devin Nunes, California Republican and chairman of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, refused to deny a charge from Democrats that he collaborated with the White House on his blockbuster memo. It detailed abuses by the FBI in obtaining a wiretap on Trump campaign volunteer Carter Page. The committee later released a transcript of the business meeting that showed Mr. Nunes had vigorously denied that he worked with the White House. The conservative news website, The Federalist, wrote, "Once again, reporters got burned by believing anonymous Democrats on the House committee." Yeah, they twist the story to make it to their benefit, you know. The New York Times ballyhooted a leak that said White House Communications Director Hope Hicks admitted to telling white lies, another crock, during 9 hours, and they used the people asking the question used the term white lies, and she repeated it, and the media ran with it, which is a crock of nothing. During 9 hours of testimony, her admission was in answer to Democrats' question about whether she had ever been untruthful, even to the point of telling white lies. They just stated that. Yeah, the Democrats' question, did you ever tell white lies? And she said sometimes, such in telling a caller that Mr. Trump was not in when he was. You see what I'm saying? Which is trash. They used, the Democrat question was white lies, and she just repeated what they said. Democrats leaked that Ms. Hicks said 2 of her email accounts, one personal, the other a campaign address, had been hacked. Only one personal account going back to Ms. Hicks' college days had been hacked. Republicans said Ms. Hicks' testimony was so inconsequential that Democrats were forced to leak petty asides, like they were leaking this story, white lies, for the full day, in other words, again. Republicans note other piecemeal leaks designed to sully Mr. Trump. Democrats leaked that his personal assistant, Keith Schiller, testified that while Mr. Trump was in Moscow in 2013 for the Miss Universe contest, that a Russian offered prostitutes Mr. Schiller laughed it off. Democrats leaked this small excerpt to spin the reporters that there is credence to the Steele's dossier section about the prostitutes. Democrats also routinely leak the schedules for upcoming witnesses. Their motive, Republicans say, is to make sure the media captures footage of the witnesses as they walk in and out of the panel's secure hearing room. I'd like to see that videotape of Hillary Clinton supposedly having sexual relations with a minor that's supposedly supposed to be coming out. That's what I'd like to see. And they're talking about this crap with Donald Trump with the prostitutes in Moscow. Dossier front and center. Committee Democrats early on set the tone for their inquisition. While the Senate Intelligence Committee avoids most partisan squabbles, House Democrats went after Mr. Trump from the start. Their weapon, the unverified dossier compiled by Mr. Steele, who was paid for by Hillary Clinton and her campaign. Right? Let's not mix it up. Let's not mince words. It was Hillary. And Soros helped her in the paying off of this. So, Mr. Schiff wholeheartedly endorsed the information and its author, of course, Mr. Steele. He was joined by a panel's most liberal wing, Eric Swalwell of California, Representative Jackie Speer of California, Joaquin Castro of Texas, and Andre Carson of Indiana. A year later, the dossier's core charges remained unconfirmed by the FBI after scouring millions of pages of documents and interviewing scores of witnesses. Mr. Nunes has said there was no Russia-Trump collusion. The final word will come from Special Counsel Robert Mueller, who continues to call Trump people to testify and wants to interview the president. At the March 20 hearing, Mr. Steele was the witness in absentia as Democrats read his charges and tried to coax agreement from then FBI Director James B. Comey and Navy Administration Mike Rogers, Director of the National Security Agency. Said Mr. Carson, in fact, the dossier written by former MI6 agent Christopher Steele alleges that Trump agreed to sideline Russian intervention in Ukraine as a campaign issue, which is effectively a priority for Russian President Vladimir Putin. There's a lot in the dossier that is yet to be proven, but increasingly, as we'll hear throughout the day, allegations are checking out. Yeah, right, and this one seems to be as accurate as they come. So it goes on and on and on. Bottom line, they're looking for Trump. We know about Glenn Simpson and their witch hunt that's going on. But, bottom line is they have nothing. This was all paid for by Hillary Clinton in order to get Trump somehow. Like, first they brought it to his attention to say, like a blackmail scheme. Trump wasn't having any of it. And then that's when they called in Mueller, and Comey was part of all of this, and everybody is part of this conspiracy, so to speak, to get Trump out of office. Well, it's not going to work because Trump called him out and said it's all bull. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.